Yes, it is your boy Ramon Marquise, and I'm always glad when y'all come join me on down to the QB zone. Listen, today's going to be an interesting episode for me. So sometimes I like to reach out to supporters, people that I interact with from time to time as well, to ask them what subject matters they would like to see me talk about on my podcast or on my blog, right? And so, not too long ago, I had asked some friends, and I also had put it on my Facebook, and I was intrigued by some of the topics, and actually quite interested and excited to do a few of them. If you look at my blog from the past 2 weeks, those topics were requested by other people. And our last blog, which was about spinning the block, that was also one that wasn't on the list suggested, but because of conversations that I'd had with two very close friends, I was like, this has to be a sign. Like, I just want to talk about it. Nonetheless, today's topic falls right in line with being relationship related, but a topic that was suggested to me. So, when I saw the topic, I said, okay, have I been in one of these before? And I feel like I have, but it didn't last long by my choice. And so today's topic is specifically about transactional relationships. First of all, do you know what a transactional relationship is? What are your thoughts on one if you know what it is? And before we get started, when you think about your love life, think about your current relationship if you're in one. Think about any relationships in the past, any relationships, any situationships. For this episode, we're going to throw them all in the same category. Have you been in any that are transactional? Give you a few seconds to think about it, because for some people, you might have a long history, so you might need a little longer to think about it than I do. And if you have not been in one, I want you to listen to what I'm going to share with you today and think to yourself, would you ever be in one? I know when I was doing research and looking into material for this topic, I said, as I told you guys already, I'd been in them, but by choice, they didn't last that long. But I feel like I learned a lot. I feel like I learned a lot by some of the things that I'm going to share with you all. And I said, I could see how this could really serve me a great purpose to be in one. I think having lived life, having been through some things, and I'm not talking about necessarily negative stuff, just, living life, I think that I'll be a lot more equipped to be in a quote-unquote transactional relationship, and it be vastly more successful than any in the past. Listen, in today's fast-paced world, the concept of a transactional relationship has gained attention as a unique approach to partnerships. This type of arrangement, often misunderstood, has an impact on how people view connections and interact with each other. As society evolves, so do the ways individuals form and maintain relationships, leading to a growing interest in exploring the potential benefits of transactional partnerships. This episode delves into the hidden advantages of embracing a transactional relationship. It examines the definition and characteristics of these arrangements, sheds light on an unexpected perks, and offers insight to navigate challenges. By exploring topics such as communication, expectations, and the balance between emotional support and practical exchanges, you all will gain a deeper understanding of how transactional relationships can actually foster personal growth and mutual benefit. So, what exactly is a transactional relationship, right? Transactional relationships are a unique form of interpersonal connection that prioritizes the exchange of goods, services, or benefits between two or more parties. These arrangements are characterized by the pragmatic nature and goal oriented approach, often resembling business transactions more than traditional romantic partnerships. So, there's some key characteristics to a transactional relationship, right? So, I'm going to go over some of the characteristics. It's just four of them that I'm going to share. The first one is mutual benefit. In transactional relationships, both parties expect to gain something of value from the exchange. This quid pro quo mentality forms the foundation of the partnership or relationship. The second thing is lack of emotional investment. Unlike conventional relationships, transactional arrangements typically involve minimal emotional connections. Partners focus on fulfilling their designated roles rather than developing deep personal bonds. The third one, clear expectations. Transactional relationships often have well-defined expectations from each party. These expectations serve as the basis for the arrangement and may be explicitly stated or implicitly stated and understood. The last key characteristic is results oriented approach. Kind of similar to business environments, transactional relationships prioritize outcomes over effort. Partners evaluate the success of the arrangement based on tangible results rather than emotional satisfaction. Now, let's kind of compare transactional relationships to a traditional one and the ways that they basically significantly differ from one another, right? So, just for these for real, just for these as well. The first one is emotional connection. While traditional relationships thrive on emotional bonds and shared experiences, transactional relationships prioritize practical exchanges. Number two, long-term commitment. Traditional relationships often involve long-term commitments and shared future plans. In contrast, transactional relationships tend to be more short-term and focus on immediate goals. 3. Conflict resolution. In traditional relationship, partners typically work together to resolve conflicts and strengthen their bond. Transactional relationships, however, may involve keeping score or using insecurities against each other. And number 4, flexibility. Traditional relationships often allow for flexibility and understanding of each other's differences. Transactional arrangements, on the other hand, can be rigid and leave little room for mistakes. Now, I think when it comes to transactional relationships and just the concept of it, just like with a lot of things in life, there are some common misconceptions, right? So I want to share some of those misconceptions that probably cause transactional relationships, especially the benefits of it, to be vastly misunderstood. So the first one is that people feel like it's inherently negative. While some view transactional relationships as impersonal or lacking depth, they serve an important function in facilitating efficient exchanges and enabling parties to achieve their respective goals. Number two, it's limited to business. Although commonly associated with business, transactional relationships can exist in various contexts, such as including personal and professional aspects. Number three, completely devoid of emotion. While emotional investment is typically lower in transactional relationships, some level of mutual respect and understanding can still exist between parties. Number four, always explicit. Not all transactional relationships involve formal contracts or agreements. In personal relationships, the transactional nature may be subtle and only visible to one party. Understanding the, let's say, nuances of transactional relationships helps to recognize their role in various aspects of life. It can be business, it can be personal, it can be a little bit of both. I think one example could be people who marry other people because they need a green card. I think that's the perfect example. Definitely the first example that pops in my mind when I think of transactional relationships. You need a green card, or you have an inheritance that you can only acquire, and this is more cultural, but where you have this inheritance that is left to you, but you have to be married by a certain age. So yeah, I need you to help me marry me. I can give you a portion of this inheritance I'm about to get. That can be, and that's more in like African and Indian cultures. But yeah, that's some of the examples you can think about. While they may not provide the same emotional depth as traditional relationships, transactional relationships can offer practical benefits and serve specific purposes, especially in today's climax and in today's complex social landscape. Now, there are definitely, I feel, some unexpected advantages. And some of these may be expected, and some of these may surprise y'all. Transactional relationships are known for their transparency and well-defined terms. Everybody know what it is. We've been vastly communicated. It's nothing more than this, that, and the third. There's no deceit. There's no hidden agendas. We know what this is. Let's not front and act like we don't. The clarity and the honesty and just everybody being on the same page helps to reduce misunderstandings and promotes open communication between parties. By establishing clear expectations from the outset, individuals can focus on fulfilling their roles and responsibilities without any ambiguity. The emphasis on reciprocity in transactional relationships ensures that each party expects a fair and equivalent exchange of value. This mutual understanding creates a solid foundation for the partnership, allowing both sides to work towards common goals with a clear sense of purpose. That's why you want to make sure the expectations and boundaries are crystal clear. The next, I guess you could say, unexpected advantage is improved communication. One of the key benefits of transactional relationships is the enhancement of communication skills. These partnerships often require task-oriented communication that center around immediate transactional goals. This focused approach leads to more efficient and effective exchanges of information. To improve communication in transactional relationships, individuals can do a few things. One, they can practice active listening by being fully present and mentally engaged during interactions, ask clarifying questions, and seek additional information to ensure a deep understanding of the message, provide constructive feedback to address any misunderstandings promptly. Another example of a transactional relationship that pops in my mind, and this made me think of specific individuals that I know who live in this type of relationship and it works for them, is mutually benefiting each other professionally. Yeah, we may be cool. We're not really attracted to each other like that from a deeply emotional or sexual place, but we get a high for life off of success, off of building an empire, off of achievements financially and materialistically. So I see a benefit that you have. I see a benefit in you for my personal and professional goals, or most of professional goals, and you see a benefit in me. There's something that we're bringing to the table that whatever our goal is to accomplish, whatever our individual goals are to accomplish professionally, specifically, more like materialistic stuff and income and, things like that, each one of us have something that the other needs or the other can really overachieve their goals with, whether that's family connections, whether that's um, money. It could be somebody that comes from money. So there's like an unlimited supply from that retrospect. There's lot of different things. Maybe just simple intellect and experience with whatever field the other person wants to, have their empire in. Whether that's from a marketing standpoint, a tech standpoint, the other person possess something that really could benefit me. So let's just get together. We look great on paper. We know what it is. You can have your side indiscretions. I'm gonna have my side indiscretions, and we gonna make sure that they don't mess up what we got going on. Just keep them on the side. And that's a great example. By adopting different types of communication strategies, I think that when you're in a transactional relationship, you can foster better understanding and really strengthen your connection with each other. And it could possibly bleed into other relationships that you have in your life. There is a balance give and take dynamic. This is another one of those advantages to this type of relationship. Balanced give and take dynamics. Because a lot of time when you're in these traditional relationships, it's very lopsided. There's no balance with the give and take. Someone's doing more than the other. Someone's giving more to the other. Hell, sometimes you've been in a relationship but you still feel alone. Or you're in a relationship but it's very one-sided. Transactional relationships are built on the principle of mutual benefit, where each person gives something to the relationship and receives something in return. This balanced approach creates a win-win situation for both parties involved, leading to increased satisfaction and productivity. The give and take nature of these partnerships encourages it encourages efficiency and productivity. It encourages flexibility and adaptability. And it encourages fair and equitable exchanges. Now, with everything that's positive, there gotta be some kind of negative for the most part, right? So there are some ways to kind of navigate some challenges, because challenges may come up in everything in life. So while transitional relationships can offer certain benefits, they also present unique challenges that partners must navigate to maintain a healthy and fulfilling connection. By understanding these challenges and implementing effective strategies, individuals can work to create a more balanced and satisfying partnership. Now, one of them is maintaining an emotional connection. One of the primary challenges in transactional relationships is maintaining an emotional connection. These arrangements often prioritize practical exchanges over emotional bonds, which can lead to feelings of shallowness and unfulfillment. Now, to address this type of issue, there's a few things that you can possibly do. Number one, recognize the importance of emotional connection for human survival and relationship satisfaction. Number two, make efforts to create deeper, more meaningful bonds beyond the transactional exchanges. Three, practice acts of kindness and care without expecting any kind of immediate returns. By focusing on emotional investment, the two people in the relationship can enhance their connection and create a more fulfilling relationship experience. Now, another challenge that can come across is avoiding purely quid pro quo mentality. A strict quid pro quo approach can be detrimental to the health of a relationship. When partners view their interactions solely through a transactional lens, it can lead to emotional distancing and a diminished sense of security. To overcome this challenge, you will need to cultivate, or you should cultivate, a willingness to give without always expecting something in return. You should focus on building a sense of safety and trust that can withstand occasional unmet expectations. Avoid keeping score of favors or using past actions as leverage against each other. By moving away from a purely transactional mindset, the two people relationship can foster a more genuine and supportive connection. Another challenge can be balancing individual needs with relationship goals. Navigating individual aspirations while maintaining a strong relationship can be challenging in a transactional relationship. So you want to strike a balance. 5 key tips in order to do that. Number 1, respect each other's goals and ambitions, viewing the relationship as a team effort rather than a competition. Number 2, engage in open, honest communication about personal and shared objectives. Number 3, create a joint plan that incorporates both individual and shared goals. Allocate time efficiently for personal pursuits and shared activities. And lastly, remain flexible and willing to adapt plans as circumstances change. Look, by working together to align individual needs with relationship goals, the two partners in the relationship can create a more harmonious and mutually beneficial arrangement. To successfully navigate these challenges, it's crucial for partners to regularly evaluate their relationship dynamics. If the transactional nature of the relationship becomes uncomfortable or unsatisfying, it's important to address the issue through open dialogue. By discussing feelings and concerns, partners can work together to build a relationship based on authenticity, trust, and mutual support. Transactional relationships can have an impact on how people connect and interact in today's fast-paced world. By understanding their unique characteristics and unexpected benefits, individuals can make informed decisions about their partnerships. Clear expectations, improved communication, and balanced give and take dynamics are just a few of the advantages that these arrangements can offer to those who choose to embrace them. While challenges like maintaining emotional connections and avoiding a purely quid pro quo mentality exist, there are always ways to navigate these hurdles. By focusing on building trust, respecting individual goals, and fostering open communication, partners can create more fulfilling and mutually beneficial relationships. In the end, transactional relationships, when approached thoughtfully, can provide a framework for personal growth and achieving shared objectives in both personal and professional spheres. Now, there's some 4 questions. 4, I guess you could say, frequently asked questions that I found very necessary to share with you guys. Very necessary and interesting. The first one is, what are the benefits, just from more of a summarized point of view, what are the benefits of engaging in a transactional relationship? Transactional relationships can have several benefits, as we've discussed. Both parties involved typically contribute equally, preventing any one-sided dynamics. There is also clear communication regarding the expectations and responsibilities within the relationship, which can foster a sense of safety and security. The next question: is it possible for transactional relationships to be beneficial? As we know and discussed, yes. Transactional relationships can be beneficial and are a common and necessary component in various aspects of life. Although they are sometimes viewed negatively, these relationships can provide both advantages and disadvantages depending on the context in which they are used and navigating some of the, challenges we discussed. The next question: what are the main challenges associated with transactional relationships? So, one significant challenge, as we know, in transactional relationships is the minimal emotional investment and trust, as these relationships often focus on individual benefits rather than mutual understanding. We want the benefits. We don't give a goddamn about no understanding, no perspectives. We want the benefits and achieved goals. This focus can result in relationships that feel superficial and may hinder the development of a deeper, more genuine connection. But it's a transactional one, so you don't need all that deeper connection and stuff. The last question: what are some alternatives to transactional relationships? Some alternatives to transactional relationships that I came across include relationships that are based on family ties, partnerships, friendships, and fellowships like tribal, religion, fraternity, sororities. These types of relationships are typically less transactional and more rooted in love, common causes, spirit, and romance. So I hope you guys found something intriguing, interesting, thought provoking. Hey, if you're interested in being in one, right on. I support it. Hell, I think that might be the best type of relationship for me at this point with my age and goals and life experiences. This might be best for me. But I definitely think that once again, as we discussed, as I shared, there's a lot of benefits. And once again, it's all about communication. It's all about making sure we're both on the same page. We know what it is. There's no second guessing. There's no assuming. We know what it is. We both agree, and we do whatever we have to do to make sure that the goals we come into a relationship with are the goals that we're going to make sure we achieve. So, the last thing I'm going to do before I let y'all go, it's the same old thing, never going to change, and that's me leaving y'all with a quote. So, this quote simply says, "There is nothing inherently wrong with there being transaction in any relationship. You should not try to eliminate transaction from relationships. After all, you couldn't if you wanted to. Instead, start to practice conscious transaction."